Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so first of all, let me express my joy that I have the opportunity to visit you here in North Sydney and spend a little bit of time in your association and share a few thoughts and realizations over the next days. Just for those who I have not met yet personally, I'm actually originally from Germany, but I never lived there as a devotee. I met the devotees here in Australia in 1985 in Kolo River. That's where Radha Gokulananda were residing. So I came to that farm and I was a woofer, a willing worker on organic farms, a volunteer, and after 1 week I moved from the guest room into the Brahmacharini ashram. So it was all very fast, and so my whole spiritual journey started here, and Krishna captured me out there in Kolo River, and then I can't even remember exactly, but I think 6 months later or something I came to North Sydney. That was just after this had started as a preaching center. There was even no deities, we had big pictures on the altar, and we were having Mangaladi every day with these pictures. And yeah, so I spent about 3.5 years as Brahmacharini upstairs. And then later we rented a house around the corner there for the girls. We had quite a team of girls there. Yeah, so I fondly remember these early days here where I had the opportunity to receive training and education in Krishna consciousness. And then later we decided to sell that farm because it's been flooding a lot. And then Radha Gokulananda moved here. And then later they moved to Cessnock Farm, New Gokul. And then Radha Gopinath moved here, so yeah. Yeah, so I was a part of all that. And yeah, then I was also married for 10 years, from 89 to 99. And in those times by Krishna's arrangement, we pioneered the first more organized temple in the former Soviet Union in Latvia, which was a very adventurous time in pioneer spirit. We started from scratch, we had nothing, and within 1-2 years we had 75 brahmacharis and 30 brahmacharinis. We did not make them all, but they came from all over former Soviet Union, and it was very dynamic and vibrant times. So and then 1999, my former husband decided to give up Krishna consciousness, and he's somewhere in Australia, I think in Melbourne, but he's not really so connected and practicing as far as I know. So, and since 1999, I'm living out of a suitcase. Basically, I moved on in my life to the renounced phase of life. So I didn't always look like this, but I had earrings and nose rings and nice colorful saris and hair, of course, and the whole lot, So I went through all that, and it was good that I did. So now it's all been there, done that, and you can actually move on, Yeah, so, and since 1999, I've basically been living out of a suitcase. And I usually spend 5 months of the year visiting different temples in India and Bangladesh and doing some preaching there. And 7 months per year, I'm all around Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe. Ukraine, I usually go a lot where now this horrible war is raging, So I've been there for over 20 years, and this is quite painful when you know people there and everything, And also North America, Canada, US. So Australia is always a little off my usual tracks. So I haven't been here for the last 15 years, actually. I visited 15 years ago, 2007, but only very briefly. Yeah, but I'm enjoying myself being back in this part of the world, and I hope to get a chance again in the future, so let's see what Krishna arranges. Okay, so let us move on to the Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Canto 3, Chapter 20, verse number 6, I believe. Yes. Tanakitaya Bhadramte. Tanakitanya Bhadramte. Kirtanyudara Kamanaha. Kirtanyudara Kamanaha. Rasagya Konutripyeta. Rasagya Konutripyeta. Hari Lilamritam Piban. Hari Lilamritam Piban. Natakyataya Bhadramte. Kirtanyudara Kamanaha. Rasagya Konutripyeta. Hari Lilamritam Piban. Ladies. Those talks na to us, kirtaya, narrate, Bhadramte, may all good come unto you. Kirtanya should be chanted. Udara, liberal. Kamanaha, activities. Rasagya, a devotee who can appreciate mellow tastes. Ka, new, indeed. Kshipyeta would feel satisfied. Hari Lilamritam, the nectar of the pastimes of the Lord. Pivan, drinking. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O Sutta Goswami, all good fortune to you. Please narrate the activities of the Lord, which are all magnanimous and worth glorifying. What sort of devotee can be satiated by hearing the nectarian pastimes of the Lord? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The narration of the pastimes of the Lord, which are always enacted on the transcendental platform, should be received with all respect by devotees. Those who are actually on the transcendental platform are never satiated by hearing the continuous narration of the pastimes of the Lord. For example, if any self-realized soul reads from Bhagavad Gita, he will never feel satiated. These narrations of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam may be read thousands and thousands of times, and still, without fail, new aspects of the subject matter will be relished by the devotee. Very nice verse, purport, topic. Yes, thousands and thousands of times the Bhagavad Gita can be read again and again. Often Prabhupada was making this statement saying, if you chant Coca-Cola, how long can you do it? You will get sick and tired of it. But chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you will never get tired of it. So this is actually the quality of transcendental sound, of transcendental narrations, that they are always relishable. They never get boring. They always nourish the heart, hearing them again and again. Like mundane topics, you heard it once and twice and all right, the senses want something new. But with spiritual topics, the senses never get bored. If, as it says in the purport, if we are actually on the transcendental platform, then we will never find them boring. If we are more on the mundane platform still, then we may think, oh no, not that story again. I've heard that already. Can't we hear something else or something? But that simply shows that we still, receive the sounds with mundane senses. And the mundane senses, they get tired, they want something new, But once we are more purified, then we can hear these things again and again and again, 1,000 times or thousands of times, And that also, makes us remember this nice verse of Rupa Goswami, where he actually prays to have thousands and thousands of tongues and ears. There he says, what is the good? What good is chanting Hare Krishna with one tongue? If I had millions of tongues, then I could chant to my full satisfaction. But what good are these 2 ears? If I had millions of ears, I could hear Hare Krishna sufficiently. So this is Rupa Goswami's lamentation. Having only one tongue, only 2 ears. I wish I had thousands of tongues, thousands of ears. Then maybe I could really hear to my full satisfaction and chant to my full satisfaction. Of course, for us, it's good that we have only one tongue. Hard to control one tongue. So millions of tongues, my God, and with this one tongue, we often talk so much prajalpa, the topic we had the other day in South Sydney there. the topic of Pujalpa. We don't even realize how much of our talk falls into that category. So thank God we have only one tongue, and we have to try and control that one tongue, not to speak unnecessarily and criticize and fault find and so many things, And say millions of years, then we would hear so much more garbage than only with 2 ears. So this is Krishna's mercy that he protects us from that. And also there's a similar verse in the 10th canto, actually, 10th canto, first chapter, verse 4, where it says, descriptions of the Lord spoken by those who are free of material desires are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death, and they delight the ear and the mind. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord, except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? Very drastic statement. Only a person who is a butcher, meaning killing his own self, he will stop hearing the narrations of the Lord. But everybody else, no, they derive great satisfaction and joy and bliss from hearing it again and again and again. So we may not be there yet, That's also, again, Rupa Goswami describes. So, this hearing and chanting, Shravanam Kirtanam, that's the medicine. And in the beginning, the medicine may taste a little bitter. We don't have that taste yet because our senses are still covered and they want some different kinds of enjoyment and So yes, it may taste bitter, but nevertheless, we have to understand it's the medicine. And even though it may take bitter, we have to take it. And Rupa Goswami gives this nice analogy saying, it's like a person who has jaundice. So jaundice, any sweet, tastes bitter, right? You lose that sweet taste. And anything sweet, actually you experience it as being bitter. But yet, the medicine is to take regularly some little, how do you call these sweets in the crystal form? Candy, sugar candy, exactly, yes. Yeah, so you take this sugar candy every day, a little bit, and then gradually, your sweet taste will reawaken. That's the process, So good to hear this again and again, that actually, even though we may not have the taste to hear, to come to the Bhagavatam class, to read Bhagavatam, but still we should remember, no, this is the medicine. And if I want to regain my spiritual health, I have to put this hearing and in my life, even if I may not have spontaneous attraction. But surely it will come. It's promised in the Bhagavatam. So if we have some little faith, in Prabhupada's words and the Shastra, then we will have that determination and understand, yes, same way how we may have to take the medicine which is not very palatable, then still we have to take it and we will get healthy. So our mind has to be fixed and focused on this goal of regaining our spiritual health. Never mind if there's some tapasya, some austerity, lack of taste in the beginning. But if we also associate with people who have taste and who have that determination, so then it will rub off on us and we will also be carried along, in their determination and in their taste, and gradually the taste within us will also awaken like that. So also this whole chapter reminds me of the importance of actually being inquisitive. This is really a topic which is stressed throughout the Bhagavatam. That this inquisitiveness is very, very important in order to make advancement. And also it is said, was it in the verse? No, in the purport, that, one should receive, the pastimes, the narrations of the Lord's glories with all respect, So that is included in that quality of being inquisitive, that we have this eagerness, this burning desire to hear in a humble state of mind, with respect. We want to hear, So that's Rupa Goswami again, he says, the only qualification we need for pure devotional service is lolyam, intense greed to get it. So, and that intense greed manifests by being inquisitive, right? So, if we are greedy for anything, we will want to hear and discuss how to achieve that. Very natural. People who are greedy to make money, so they are sitting on the computer researching how to make money. They go to some business clubs and associate with like-minded people and exchange ideas and so their greed for money manifests in that way, that they have this eagerness to hear, they have this inquisitiveness in that direction. So same thing, if we actually have greed for Krishna, then we can't live without hearing, And we have this inquisitiveness, to take every opportunity to hear. Yes, we can't live without it, So, and of course, inquisitiveness, it is not merely a question of, I've got a question, but it is more a state of heart, actually. So we can be inquisitive even without having a question. And we can also be not inquisitive even though we may have a question. So there is some little deeper vision and understanding to what it actually means to be inquisitive. So inquisitiveness, I like to define as, this intense greed to hear, to understand, to somehow find out, how can I make progress? How can I overcome all my obstacles, my anarthas? That there's this intense eagerness to somehow find out and capture something which will be useful for me in my spiritual practice. That's inquisitiveness. The opposite of inquisitiveness, I like to understand as being indifferent. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes this in his book Harinam Chintamani. He describes that there is these 3 levels of attentiveness. Attentiveness on the level of the body, of the mind, of the heart. And interestingly, these 3 levels of attentiveness, they're not only there in regards to chanting the holy name, but they're also there in regards to hearing, for example. Actually, they're there in regards to any devotional service. We have to be attentive on the level of the body, the mind and the heart. So what does that mean? Attentiveness on the level of the body means that he's making Gwibix while he's hearing, all right, he can do that. But we should not We should not really do so many other things while we are hearing, or maybe fall asleep. My God, this is miserable life. That's the utmost inattentiveness on the level of the body if we sit there falling asleep, Often happens. Yes, but even on Zoom programs, you can always see those people who don't switch on their video unless they have such a low internet connection there that, the video will disturb their broadcasting, their reception there. But as a rule, those people who don't switch on their video, they're actually not attentive. They're doing housework, they're eating, cooking, and so much goes past their ears and they miss it, Yes, so that's inattentiveness on the level of the body. Inattentiveness on the level of the mind. Mind is wandering, planning, thinking of so many things, shopping list, plan the next program, whatever it may be, Or the mind thinks, oh God, when is this finally over? It's enough now. And So that's inattentiveness on the level of the mind. And inattentiveness on the level of the heart, that's the most crucial one. Because, very clear, if we want that our service transforms our heart, then the heart has to be involved, right? Otherwise it will bypass the heart. It will actually not do anything in the heart. So this is like that in chanting. If we chant without involving the heart, then there is almost nothing happening in the heart. By the way, let me take the opportunity to advertise the Holy Name Retreat we have in New Gokul, 16th to 18th of September. I do like to conduct Holy Name Retreats. Yes, we need all the help we can get to get on deeper levels of understanding in regards to chanting. And usually I like to conduct these retreats over 3 full days. If anybody plans to be in December in Mayapur, I will conduct a Holy Name Retreat in Ekachakradam, Nityananda's birthplace, over 3 days, over Christmas actually, 24th to 28th of December. Very nice experience. Ekachakra, perfect place to have a retreat like that. But so here in New Gokul we will have 1.5 days, 1/3 of a day. So it's better than nothing, just to polish up our chanting habits. Yes, please take a note of this, Yeah, so this is there in any kind of service. If the heart is not involved, it will not transform the heart. So in regards to hearing, the heart is involved if we hear with eagerness, with lolium, with inquisitiveness. There cannot be any indifference in the heart. Yes, this indifference has to be kicked out of the heart. Even when we serve, when we dress the deities, cook, clean the floor, the heart has to be involved in order for the service to transform the heart. So when we serve, the heart being involved means that we do our very best. We give everything, in order to perform our service pleasingly to the devotees and the Lord, that it is pleasing. So we give our very best. We don't just serve with 5% or 10% of energy. That kind of service mood will not really transform the heart. Only if we really give our heart and soul in service, no matter what we do. So, this is pretty important to understand, because we can waste so much time in our so-called Krishna consciousness and just, give the bare minimum And then we are surprised that nothing really happens in our spiritual life. There's no taste coming, Krishna doesn't reveal himself, and it's just humdrum life, So that comes if we don't serve with heart and soul. Then Krishna will not reciprocate, because Krishna is attracted by the mood, by the love and devotion, how we serve. And love and devotion, if we serve with love and devotion, love means we are willing to sacrifice ourselves. We are willing to give everything. Then we talk about the beginning stage of love, If that mood of sacrificing is there, selflessly, without expecting something in return. So if we serve in that mood, then very quickly something will happen in our heart, and our service will actually transform the heart, so this inquisitiveness, very, very important. There is a nice purport where Prabhupada also describes this. I have my little verse book here where I put in all different nice things, because my brain, I cannot remember so easily. So I put it all under different topics in my verse book. So under G for Guru, I have the following purport. From 2nd Canto, 8th chapter, verse 24. The spiritual master is always prepared to impart knowledge to the disciple, and specifically when the disciple is very inquisitive. Here we have it. Inquisitiveness on the part of a disciple is greatly necessary for the progressive disciple. Maharaj Parikshit is a typical disciple because he is perfectly inquisitive. If one is not very inquisitive about self-realization, one need not approach a spiritual master simply to make a show of discipleship. That's pretty strong words, Yes. In other words, if we accept Guru without this inquisitiveness, no need. We're just making a show here. Then our acceptance of Guru just becomes some social thing here. Everybody else has a Guru, let me also have a Guru. Okay, he has this one, he has that one. Yeah, I'll go for that one. He's always far away, he doesn't come so often, so he won't harass me too much. He won't give me any discipline. Some people like that, Yes, so, but that's not true disciple, I have a seminar also on becoming a true disciple. Not that I'm one, I'm just endeavoring to become one. But there's a few good points in that topic too. And one of them is being inquisitive, Yes. One needs to have this inquisitiveness, And interesting to notice, that if two devotees meet, some transcendental nectar only flows if one side is inquisitive and inquires and wants to hear something meaningful and uplifting, and the other side has something meaningful and uplifting to share, right? Then the nectar flows. But if neither of them are eager to hear and have some meaningful question and inquiry, or that greed to capture something, and the other person also has nothing much to share, then it's some small talk. Haribol, how are you? Nice to see you. How are you doing? No worries, mate. I like to call these relationships Haribol relationships, where we don't get beyond the small talk. It's all right, some little small talk may be necessary to just create some connection, but then, we should have some transcendental nectar to flow. Otherwise, what's the use? It will not be uplifting for neither of them, you know. But if one person is inquiring and another person has something uplifting to share, then the nectar flows, you know, and then it becomes meaningful and uplifting, actually for both sides. The speaker always gets most of the benefit, actually. So that's why I'm sitting here. Because I need it. Yeah, and I remember once I had this nice experience which was really making this very point. I was invited for lunch at some devotee's place. And yeah, they had been around for 15, 18 years, you know, so reasonably senior, but then also not that senior. So, and yes, you know, we started talking, but yes, very often we can observe this in these modern days, that people are more eager to talk about themselves rather than inquiring. Have you ever noticed that? Yes, everybody's so fond of talking about themselves, what they're all doing, you know, and, you know, this is, again, connects with one of my other favorite topics of the false ego. Next Sunday, actually, by the way, in case you don't know, we will have a seminar on the false ego here in the temple room in the morning. Yeah, so people like to boast and, you know, chant their own glories to satisfy their false egos, you know, but actually this is considered inappropriate, especially in the presence of a senior person. You don't talk about yourself unless that person really asks you, you know, what are you doing and this and that. But you're not meant to just talk about all your big achievements or something. It's really off. It's inappropriate, against Vaishnava etiquette. We are meant to inquire, you know, that's how we are meant to associate, by inquiry, not by boasting and talking about ourselves. So anyway, I was at this family's place, and yeah, they were mainly talking about themselves, you know. So, and yes, I was listening and making some comments and this and that, and you know, and since they didn't ask me anything, I thought, all right, let me ask them something. Maybe they will get the point that we are actually meant to inquire from each other. But yeah, somehow the conversation was not going anywhere much, and yeah, it was rather superficial. And I was getting already a little frustrated, thinking, oh God, you know. But then it was interesting. She was publishing a magazine about her guru's activities. So, and then she asked me if she could make an interview with me for her guru's magazine. So I said, yeah, why not? So then the whole atmosphere changed because she actually inquired. Of course, on the premise of the interview, you know. But then at a certain point, even her inquiry, actually she became inquisitive, you know? And then she started inquiring, not so much for the interview, but for her own, you know, satisfaction. She actually came up with some questions, some deep questions. And immediately the whole atmosphere changed and the transcendental nectar started flowing, you know? And the relationship became more deeper, the exchange became more deeper. It was not just the small talk, the Haribol relationship, but actually there was some inquisitiveness there. And I was just smiling to myself thinking, yes, just see, you know, unless there is some inquisitiveness there, some inquiry, the exchange is superficial. But as soon as there's some serious inquiry coming, not only like the reporter, you know, here I have a question for you, but then actually, you know, she became inquisitive. So then the whole mood changed. And it was actually a deep and meaningful exchange and meeting. And Everybody got uplifted, including myself, because that's the point. We actually serve a devotee by inquiry, because that draws more nectar out of the speaker, right? So like this is the quality of a sadhu. A sadhu will not speak unless people are inquiring, because he knows, if he speaks and people are not eager to hear, it doesn't fall on fertile grounds, So therefore sadhu only speaks if there's some serious inquisitiveness there, some inquiry. But if there's no inquiry, then no need to even speak, So by inquiring, this is actually how we serve a senior person, because we're giving him a chance to elaborate on some points, and that is good for his own upliftment, And sometimes as a speaker you can actually observe, some of you may have had that experience too, that you can actually perceive how you simply act as the connecting pipe between the audience and the Lord. So Gaur Govinda Maharaj explains this. Some of you may have heard his name, Gaur Govinda Maharaj. He left his body some years ago. I actually had the good fortune to meet him and hear from him. Wow, powerful personality. And he wrote a few nice books, or actually the disciples compiled the books from his lectures. And he makes this point that a speaker should not think, listen to all the nectar that comes from me. No, nothing comes from him. The nectar is already there. Nectar comes from the Lord. It's already there. So the speaker simply acts as the connecting pipe, connecting the audience with that nectar coming from the Lord. And the more pure-hearted the speaker is, the more the pipe connects. But if the speaker, is full of himself and proud and thinks he's so learned and great, so then the pipe is pretty blocked, and you don't get that much coming through it. Maybe 1 or 2 drops, but not the full swing there, so that's a nice understanding how the speaker actually simply acts as the connecting pipe. And sometimes as a speaker we may be in that situation where, especially in a question, somebody asks a question, and when you hear the question you think, okay, so how am I going to answer to this? Or it may be even about some topics where you don't have much knowledge or realization on or something. But then all of a sudden some words come out of your mouth, and it's actually Krishna using us as an instrument. Same experience we have on book distribution, right? Anybody who goes on book distribution, they have that experience. If we have a pure desire to somehow give these books to the souls who are just ready to receive them, then Krishna acts like, he uses us as an instrument, as a puppet in his whole higher plan. Yes, anybody had that experience? You boys are going on book distribution? No? Yes. Yeah, so that's why we say, going on book distribution, it's all in the chanting. If we chant in a prayerful way, praying to Krishna, please Krishna, let me be your instrument in your hands, and let me, connect people with you somehow or other. Let me find these conditioned souls who are just ready to receive the book. If we have that mood, then Krishna uses us as an instrument, and we have all these amazing stories there that people say to us, oh wow, I was just praying to the Lord this morning, oh, if you exist at all, please show me to you. And now you're giving me here something about the Lord, wow, that can't be a coincidence. So all kinds of situations you experience, where you realize it's not you being the doer. No. Krishna just uses us. And same thing is there also in speaking too, that if we have that desire to somehow serve the audience and uplift them, then Krishna uses us, and sometimes we watch ourselves saying things which we didn't even know, and that we know them somehow, and some words come out of our mouth. Yeah, so it's quite a profound experience, So yes, this inquisitiveness, such an important quality to actually make advancement, because, and as the verse or the purport says, we can hear, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, thousands and thousands of times again. Prabhupada used to say, so when we finish the Bhagavatam, what do? We just start from the beginning again, Here, thousands of times. Let's see, who of you has read the Bhagavatam once? Fully. More? Not so many, Who has read it thousands and thousands of times? Nobody. Including my humble self. I haven't read it thousands and thousands of times. Yeah, and Prabhupada says, and still, without fail, new aspects of the subject matter will be relished by the devotee. Especially when that inquisitiveness is there. Then Krishna reveals, because as we know, Savasya Chamriti Sanavisto. So Krishna says, from me comes knowledge, remembrance and forgetfulness. So knowledge, realizations are actually imparted by Krishna. They're given by Krishna, according to our eagerness, how we are hearing and inquiring. And also interesting to understand, there is no objective hearing experience. Every single person sitting in the room here, or being on internet, they hear something different, according to their material attachments, their material desires, their false ego blocking the ears, their pride. All these things act as a filter through which we hear. That's why sometimes people also really can misquote you and say, oh, you said, sometimes in the question it comes up, oh, Mataji, you said this and this and this. Huh? I didn't even talk about that. Where does that come from now? Where did you hear that? We didn't even talk about the topic. So yeah, people hear all kinds of things which were not even said or discussed. It's sometimes amazing, Yes. And I remember also many years ago, I was giving one little seminar in Ukraine once about communication. Because I often feel, we are so lousy in communication. And I made this exercise that one person was saying, something rather complex, not just one statement, but, describing a complex situation with 4 or 5 different elements in it. And then another person was simply meant to repeat what that person said. And I was shocked to see that practically nobody, not a single person, managed to exactly repeat what the person said. I mean, it was such a shocking exercise for me. I didn't believe it until I did it, Yes. Because, people, hear through these filters, and they project all kinds of things there in what you say and so on. So, wow, that's our hearing, so naturally communicating, That's why we often have so many miscommunications, and most conflicts arise from miscommunication, actually, not clear, open, honest communication, and not proper hearing, Yeah, so that's why, new aspects of the subject matter will actually come up again and again with these transcendental descriptions of the Lord's pastimes. Because first time we hear things, we can't possibly assimilate everything, and we hear only some little fraction, But then when we hear the same thing again, oh, I didn't catch that one last time, Even lectures, we can hear them again and again, and we always discover something new there, because so many things go past our ears, And also, as we become more purified, our hearing deepens, And that filter becomes less thick, blocking, the transcendental nectar. So the more purified we become, the more we actually hear what the speaker says. And then Krishna also reveals and opens the subject more deeply, Yes. Yeah, so that's why, inquisitiveness is important, and that hearing is so important, and it never gets boring, hopefully. But also it is up to the speaker too, to somehow come up with a few deeper points, Otherwise, it may become a little boring, if it's always the same, more general, superficial, shallow talk or something. So as a speaker, we also have to meditate, we have to prepare a little bit, we have to think how we can, draw something relevant from a topic, which is relevant to people's spiritual practice and so on, so, yeah. Okay, so time is up. Let me see if we have any questions. Let me see if anybody's inquisitive here. Oh, so many. Okay, we'll start with you, Prabhu.
Just in today's translation, how do we understand, because we were hearing how it's very humbly inquires and is inquisitive. But it seems here Shaunaka Rishi is addressing Sutta Goswami as that like he's giving blessings, all good fortune unto you. But then, like, how do we understand? We know they're great souls, but it's not like he has false ego, so I can bless my spiritual master.
Hang on, I don't quite understand your question.
Like, Shaunaka Rishi is addressing Sutta Goswami that all good fortune unto you.
Yes.
That sounds like giving a blessing, isn't it? Or how do we understand it?
I wouldn't really necessarily say it's a blessing. All good fortune unto you. We can also see it as a glorification. Isn't it? Yeah, You are so fortunate. It doesn't mean that the fortune comes from him or something. Yeah, obviously, it's not that, I'm blessing you here, and then at the same time he says, please narrate the activities of the Lord. So if you understand it like that, then yes, it would contradict each other, but I never even thought of this actually. I didn't understand it like that. All good fortune unto you. Anybody, who is in the position of being able to narrate the activities of the Lord, he is in a very fortunate position. Right? And as I was saying, he acts as the pipe and he gets the blessings of the Lord. you know. So that's why he is very fortunate. So I don't really understand it in that sense that he is giving his blessings here or something. I mean, even in Vyasa Puja homages, we wish our Guru, all good fortune. It doesn't mean that we think we are the ones who is blessing the Guru. We may say, oh, may you live a long life, inspiring so many conditioned souls, and So we're simply expressing a wish, but it doesn't mean that, we think we are giving that blessings here or something. Right? Yes. Okay, what other questions did we have? Yes, Peru, we'll continue. I mean, how long shall we go? You have to tell me when to stop.
As long as you want.
You sure? I guess we don't have any managers here, right? Do we? Do we have any temple?
Sundays are quite liberal.
Sunday is quite liberal. Okay, good. So then we'll continue with you.
Then you mentioned about the greediness, right? How can we increase that greediness? Maybe like initial stage we may not have much greed. If you want to, what I understand is if the greediness will push you to.
Yes. So how to develop this greediness? Well, we can say greediness is there already in the heart. It's a sign of life to be eager for something. If there's no eagerness for anything, then we're almost dead, So some eagerness is there. So it's just a matter of redirecting the eagerness. Instead of being eager for sense gratification, we have to be eager to serve and hear and chant. So it's just a question of redirecting the eagerness. Eagerness is already there. Greed is already there, usually for sense enjoyment. So we have to redirect. And that's what the whole process of devotional service is all about, to redirect that greed. And association, of course, is very important. So if we associate with those devotees who strive to redirect their greed also, and there's a few people there who have managed to do that already more than we have, so that's helpful, Yeah, that's why Prabhupada created ISKCON, actually, to give people that opportunity to associate with like-minded people and, support each other in that aim of developing pure devotional service, like that. What else? Yes?
Mataji, you talked about doing service from the heart.
Yes.
So, yes, that's we need to do service from the heart, but what happens in the process, like there's a lot of emotion attached and devotees get attached to the service. So, for whatever reason, for practical reasons, if somebody says that you don't have to do that service, but something in this time or something, they get very guilty or like they think, maybe I'm not qualified to do it. And I see a lot of times when they want to cook for their spiritual master and for whatever reason they don't give roasted, they feel like, I'm fallen in, my spiritual master is not ready to take my service. Things like, so where is the balance with that when you're serving with heart but not feeling?
Yeah, good question. So, we can say, first of all, let's understand it's a gradual process, So when we come to devotional service, of course we have so many material motives and attachments and desires for